What's going on, everybody? Thanks for tuning in. We're doing a fun little late night stream right here from the Magic City Lounge. Got a bunch of cool people up here with me. At least they tell me they're cool. What's up, guys?
Hey. What's going on?
Hey, TF.
Hey, TF.
All right. So, yeah, lots of stuff going on in the world of college football. I heard there's a, like an invitational, I guess, is what they call it nowadays.
I think it's called
that
the Alabama Invitational.
the Nick Saban Invitational? Is that the?
There you go.
The SEC invitation.
Exactly. Yeah.
So yeah, Pete, I guess I could go to Pete here real quick. You've had some pretty choice words about this topic. So, what's your take on this? Well, we'll start with you. What's your take, Pete?
Well, I think it's terrible for the sport. I think that when you have Power 5 conferences and you have one team that goes out there, despite losing their quarterback and wins 13 games and wins their conference and gets left out ahead of two teams, not just one, that have a loss. And Florida State went out of their way to schedule a big boy non-conference game earlier in the year and won it convincingly. I think it's sad for the sport. I do. I think just like you said, it's an invitational at this point. It's not a playoff. And maybe there was never a playoff to begin with. Maybe it always was an invitational. But to me, punishing a team and a coaching staff for one player being injured is a travesty. And,
Well, you know, Slim made a good point earlier, and I'd made it before. That what is the who's the quarterback for FSU? What was his name? The guy that got hurt?
Jordan Travis.
Travis. Okay, so if Jordan Travis is obviously the most important guy in college football right now, obviously he's Superman.
Yeah.
He's Superman. Why is he not? I mean, he better be at the Heisman. He better be there. He better get the Heisman Trophy.
Yeah.
That's my opinion on that.
My only thing to that is that's one of the things that they have said. I mean, it's on their website that they take those things into consideration, but they also take in conference championships, strength of schedule, among other things. But there's never been a rule that says, if you're undefeated, you automatically in. Or, I mean, one-loss teams get in all the time. It's like people bringing up the Cincinnati thing. Well, since that was the only choice. Was Cincinnati?
Well, but one loss teams don't get in over undefeated teams until
FSU was undefeated in 2013. They were ranked number 3.
There was no playoff then.
I mean, 2014. It was Alabama number 1, Oregon number 2, both with one loss. So they don't automatically put undefeated teams ahead.
There's never been an undefeated team that got left out of the playoff in the Power 5. Never.
Yeah, I think one of the issues is that they have faced the last couple of years. They had a TCU team that was unable to compete, and they had a Cincinnati team that was unable to compete. And again, I think a couple things can be true here. Yes, Florida State got absolutely screwed over. I think it's outrageous, but at the same time, what's interesting, I wasn't in the room. But I could see them. It sounds like they questioned whether Florida State could compete. And what I think is interesting is that now,
based on winning every game,
I'm not arguing. I'm not lobbying for them. I'm not lobbying. But here's what they've done.
I'm just trying to understand the thought. I'm trying to understand the thought process. That's what I'm trying to understand.
Their thought process. Florida State has is.
TCU couldn't compete, but they beat Michigan.
Yeah,
playoff,
which nobody thought they could.
Michigan beat Michigan in that game. That was a
TCU beat Michigan.
Speed beat Michigan in that game. TCU had more speed.
And Michigan didn't tackle and got ripped off of a touchdown. That game was close.
That's why you play the games.
I know. I'm not defending them. I know why. I will tell the why, but I'm not lobbying for, because I think Florida State should have been in. But I think the interesting question is, which we're going to get an answer to, is can Florida State beat Georgia? If Florida State can beat Georgia, then the world should go at that committee with flaming pitchforks.
It has nothing to do with anything. The
I just
outcome of Georgia and Florida State has zero to do with anything.
Well,
Here's my old.
that's going
my
to tell
whole-
us, though.
No, it's
Here's
not.
the whole conundrum about all of it.
Yeah,
This
it
is
is.
what I can figure out. Florida State was good enough to be in the top 4 the week before, and they had the same
Top
situation. The quarterback was out, and now they win their game in the final week, and they knock them out of the top 4 and say, "Well, they've lost some key players." Well, they had them key players out the week before when you ranked them in there in the top 4.
But the SECPN crowd has never they were never not going to put the SEC person in. Like I'm not being a dick in this, but like the SECPN crowd was never going to not have an SEC team.
Well,
in that.
so you're probably right about that, Tony. Do you not find a problem with that? Is that not
No,
problem?
I find immense problems with the ESECPN, but I'm just saying from a reality standpoint, I didn't have a question that they were going to put Alabama in over. My question was Texas going to get screwed or was Florida State going to get screwed? And they had to cover themselves by taking Texas instead.
Well, yeah, they couldn't leave Texas out because they beat them by multiple scores in Tuscaloosa. So
100%.
as soon as you saw that, they're not getting left out. I think the issue has always been with this 14 playoff. You have 5 power conferences and you have 4 spots. And if you guys go back and watch it, you can see what Leach talked about it, which everyone says about it. You knew right away, by the way, when you saw that Sankey infomercial on game day, what was going to happen. But which one of these teams don't look like the other? That crap that he was saying, and all the ESPN crew just sucking it up. Like I turned my TV off right there, and I'm like, I'm done. Why am I still watching this shit?
You are
the reason why,
right.
Joey, the reason why they were number 4 the week before. This isn't new. If you knock off the number 1 team in the country, you're gonna jump up the polls. I mean, that's something that's not new, Joey. It just happened in the very end of the season.
Well, here's the thing. Going back to the Cincinnati, because I see the Cincinnati, what I was saying earlier, thing brought up again. I think this year is the most controversial year. But when you look back at most of it, it's really not that controversial. I mean, Notre Dame was number 5 at 11-1. Everybody below them had 2 losses. Well, why didn't they put Notre Dame in over Cincinnati? Because Cincinnati beat them. That's the reason Cincinnati made the playoffs. The reason Ohio State made the playoffs in 2014 is because they were 12-1
With a third-string quarterback,
right? Who scored 59 points and looked fantastic.
And they're also Ohio State.
looked fantastic. Win in December. It's a season-long sport, not a December sport.
Oh, I agree with you 100. By the way, Pete, once again, let me reiterate. I agree with you 100%.
Yeah, I know you do. I'm projecting to everybody, not to you in particular, Tony, but because all the points that I hear can easily be shot down. Listen to me. I think if you want to ask me for real, do I think that Alabama is better than Georgia? No, I don't. But guess what? Alabama beat Georgia. Good on them. It's not about who you think is better. It's about what you do throughout 4 months of a season in college football. The fact that Cincinnati got into a playoff for being undefeated and Florida State got left out is absolutely ridiculous.
So who should have replaced Cincinnati? Who should have replaced Cincinnati?
Anybody?
So yeah, probably whoever was right below them. I don't know who was it. Ohio State?
No, I just told you Notre Dame was below them at 5, but Cincinnati beat Notre Dame in the regular season.
All right, who was behind them then?
A bunch of 2-loss teams.
Probably better than
Cincinnati.
Cincinnati.
Team over Cincinnati.
There might be occasions when you have to invite a Cincinnati in, but let's face it.
There
right,
will be in 12-team playoff.
Cincinnati finally played in the Power 5 conference this year. Does anybody know where they finished? Terrible.
Yeah,
They're at,
Probably dead last, probably.
they're at the bottom of the conference, along with UCF, BYU, and every new team is at the bottom of their conference. Houston at the bottom, UCF, TCU, or not TCU, but well, TCU is at the bottom. But these teams that are a group of 5 teams, there's a reason they're a group of 5 teams. They can win a one-off game against a Clemson, or they can win a one-off game.
The group of 5 should not even be. They should have a separate thing.
Oh,
exactly. I agree 100%. They should. They can compete with a Power 5 team on a one-off game. But when they've got to compete at a Power 5 level week in and week out, there's a huge difference in that. When you've got to face Texas Tech one week, TCU the next, West Virginia the next, and Texas the following week, you're screwed as a group of 5 team. You're going to lose 2 or 3 of those games.
I'll tell you though, I think that Florida State was also a victim of, and I could be wrong in this because I was not in the room, but I think that there was a lingering stench in the mind of the committee. This is, again, just my personal guess from the performance failures of TCU and Cincinnati, and that
I think you're 100% right. That does not validate what they did.
Oh no, nothing validates what they did.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you also, the other thing is that this
what happened to Cincinnati and what happened to TCU is not Florida State's problem.
I agree. Yeah, but I think that ESPN and their love affair with the SEC was not going to not take an SEC team. However, now again, every other conference, by the way, has learned at some point in this playoff the hard way how you get screwed over and not get that 5th slot. And this was going to be the year that the SEC figured it out, and the SEC flexed its muscle and said, "We don't think so." That is an issue for the ACC and the Big Ten, and I guess the Big 12 to decide. Is this whole ESECPN thing a little too stacked in the deck?
I look at this.
And that's a debate.
Florida State. Weak schedule. The ACC was down this year, but you know what? TCU didn't play a real favorable schedule last year either. Big 12 was down.
Texas, you just said the ACC's down this year. Based on what are you basing that on? The ACC has a winning record over the SEC in 10 games this year.
I'm not saying only thing I'm doing is comparing the ACC and Big 12. That's all I'm doing here. The ACC had a much tougher road this year than anybody in the Big 12 last year. Oklahoma was down. Texas was down. West Virginia was down. Oklahoma State was down last year. Every team was down last year, and TCU wiped the slate with everybody.
Right, and that's the only thing we know about the committee is they will not put in a 2-loss team. That's all.
Joey, wait. But Joey, who's up in the Big 12? I'm waiting for you. Well, so Texas, but who's up in the Big 12? It's like the Big 12 played better this year, yet they put them into the playoffs. Yeah,
but they beat Alabama. And that's why I think that I would have left Alabama out. They've already been beaten by one of the playoff teams.
Yeah, that's one thing. I cannot stand rematches. Sorry. If you lose in a regular season, why or better yet, if you don't win your conference, why are you playing for a national championship? If you're not a conference champion and they say, "Oh, well, the 4 best teams." Then we're going back to the whole idea of this playoff was to make it on the field, right? We were going to say, forget those polls. The poll era was so archaic. People deciding who the best teams are. What are they doing right now?
Well, I'm with Louis Cabo. I'm rooting for Washington.
Yeah. Well, there's another good point. We all thought that Washington was going to lose to Oregon. I don't know who on this panel thought that Washington was going to win that game.
And that's kind of the point.
I know. Yeah.
And Tim is exactly right. This is the point when people go, well, Pete or anybody else, I'm saying Pete because it's me. If Florida State played Alabama on a neutral field tomorrow, Alabama would be favored by 7 points or 10 points. I go, yeah, well, so Oregon was favored by 10 points and lost. So that doesn't mean that they're better. You have to play the game.
Well, I think that's where Josh Pate got it right, that they screwed up. They've screwed up their rankings for weeks now, because when I hear people talk about resume, but now all of a sudden resume's been thrown out the window and it doesn't matter. Why was Texas behind Oregon for so long? Texas beat Alabama on the road. Alabama beat a 10-win Ole Miss and a 9-win LSU. Oregon didn't beat a team with more than 8 wins all year.
No, but they dominate. Hold on, but they also see you can't pick who you're playing, and we don't know if Oregon doesn't beat Alabama. We don't know if Oregon doesn't beat. Did Washington beat Texas last year? I know it was last year, but there's a lot of the same players, right? I mean, we don't know who would win these games because they don't play each other. That's part of the problem.
I have a more important question that really resonates deep in this conversation, and so if you are Florida State or anybody else, if you're Georgia, if you're Southern Cal, if you're Ohio State, why go out of your way to schedule boy non-conference game? Because Florida State did it against LSU.
I mean, Michigan, they pretty much
yeah, I mean, Michigan they didn't schedule anybody worth a shit out of conference, and they're
speaking of Michigan, Maui Howie.
They're ranked number 1.
Yeah.
So why should anybody? I mean, if you're a fan of this sport and you want to see compelling matchups in non-conference, I live for that. Those are the best games of the year. Why should anybody do that now? Because they just told you it doesn't matter.
Right.
No, and I really hate
Texas again.
I really hate the argument that everybody's making now that, it won't matter next year. Everybody says it won't matter next year. It's all going to be fixed. Well, it really sucks for this year. As a college football fan,
it's 12-team playoff. It's easier to discern 5 through 7 than it is 13 through 15.
Once they went to that committee, because you can control. I said this the other night on the USC show. Once you go to a committee, you can control it. 2 networks, Fox and ESPN, could absolutely control a committee. You got how many people on that committee? Dozen or so, or whatever there?
On the playoff committee?
Playoff committee, yeah.
Isn't it 13? Isn't it only 13 people?
Yeah, 13 people.
So it's committee, right? You can't. You control. You can get there and get influence. You can control a committee. You can't control 2 polls. So why did they keep the polls and then have the top 4 teams play each other? That's when you knew something was cooking. That's when you knew that again, the networks are paying billions of dollars for these long contracts, and they want to control everything. So what do? You shrink it down, and you get a committee you can control, and then you get to pick the teams for the best ratings. And there you go. Where's my tinfoil hat, TF? I need one right now. Should we do a conspiracy show on this? Because that's really what.
Where's the conspiracy music, Pete? I know you got some.
Well, I don't know if it's a conspiracy as much as it is the playoff committee just doesn't know what the fuck they're doing. That's what I really think.
Well, it would have to be a conspiracy because the UNLV athletic director and the Navy athletic director, they have contract with CBS Sports. So why do they care what benefits ESPN?
You know what's great
so hold on. So Eldar, you don't think that ESPN and the large networks are controlling the sport? Is that what you're saying? Like you're saying they have no control of that committee at all, no sway whatsoever?
They do.
I didn't say that at all.
Okay, I just want to make sure because it's
a conspiracy. But here's what I do know: Kirk Herbstreit, who works for ESPN, has been running around for the past 2 weeks talking about how Alabama should be in instead of Florida State, and it happened. Kirk Herbstreit, as far as I know, and maybe I'm just an idiot, is not on the committee and should have zero influence on it.
I agree. The whole ESPN network shouldn't have an influence in it, period. And
that's why some of us have been calling it ESECPN for like 15 years.
Yeah. I mean,
Kirk Herbstreit shouldn't have some kind of inside knowledge of what these people are deciding either, in my opinion. I mean, he shouldn't be. If he already has knowledge of what they're deciding, it means he's already in their ear, which means that they can be easily influenced. And I mean, Tony, you and I talked about it. LW made the point earlier as well that 2 things can be true at the same time. And LW, yeah. Tony, you said that today. LW said that before we started the show. Yes, Alabama deserves to be in the playoffs, in my opinion. Florida State deserves to be in the playoffs more than Alabama, in my opinion. They both deserve to be there. And so does everybody else who's in there. The whole idea of taking You had 5 power conferences, and all of a sudden you're like, we're going to give 4 playoff spots. The whole system was broken at the beginning. You knew this was going to happen. The funny thing is that it happened.
And by the way, late night games at Stanford and Oregon State are responsible for like not having this same problem like 7 more times.
You know, back playoff
all those late night Pac-12 after dark teams, like where number 3 lost to an unranked team. You're all welcome. You're welcome.
Tony, except for the fact that there is a Pac-12 team in because they went undefeated and they handled their business. But the same can't be said for Florida State.
Pete, do you know how many Pac-12 teams have gone undefeated since they got to 12?
No. How many?
None. This is the first one.
Yeah, but they're in though.
Yeah, no, but that's why you haven't had a problem with 5, and 5 trying to cram into 4 slots because late night games at Oregon State or Stanford always knocked out the 5th one.
I mean, but that's true of every conference, though. Really?
Oh, not to. But listen, since 2012 or 2011, has there been an undefeated SEC team? Yes.
Yes.
Has there been an undefeated Big Ten team? Yes. Has there been an undefeated ACC team? Yes. Has there been an undefeated Big 12 team? Yes. Has there been an undefeated Pac-12 team until last week? No.
Yeah. I see what you're saying.
Hey, overdose boxing. Let's make that happen. I've got a couple other people who would love to do that. I bet we could bring blood boxing on here as well. Let's make that happen. We'll have a boxing night. That would be a really good time.
I'll be there for that, for sure.
Yeah. Well, we got a lot of us watch boxing, so.
One thing that I wanted to do, or I wish they would have done back when they started this playoff thing. I wanted, and you can go back and watch videos from 2013 and stuff on Mark Rogers. I was on there advocating at the time for a +1. So yeah, okay, 14 playoff +1. Bring in the extra one. Bring in that 5th one. Because we had power.
Well, the +1 conversation was for a non-Power 5 team.
Well, I know that, but I still wanted the +1 because it might have been for anybody else too. I mean, if it wasn't a non-Power 5 team that would be eligible like this year, then you could go with a Florida State. I don't like the 12-team playoff either. I think it should be 8.
It should be 8.
Well, it should be 8, but it doesn't matter if it's 12 or 8 or just 64.
Well, I can't wait. I can't wait to see. First off, the 12 team's going to give us 8 more things to argue about. Because now it's going to be who's the top 4, who's going to be the first one to get the buys, blah, blah, blah. Then you're going to have, everybody, well, I want to be 6, I want to be 7, I want to be 4, I want to be 3, I want to be
that no matter how many.
It's going to be ridiculous.
Is they set a precedent by saying if you have an injured player, you don't deserve to be in there. So now they can do whatever they want and say, well, the 13th team or the 12th team or whoever it is, their defensive end or their star running back or their star quarterback or whatever is injured.
They've always been doing whatever they want, though.
So did Alabama's injured wide receivers last year keep them out of the playoffs?
Physically, yeah.
What's up, Volstorm? Hey, everybody, this is my buddy Volstorm. He wanted to join in on this.
No, last year the wide receivers physically kept them out. Basically what they've done this year is they have completely turned the college football playoff into tournament basketball. Because that's one of the criteria for the teams is do you still have the same players that you did when you were making your run?
Yeah, but the tournament But the tournament has, if you win your conference, there's an auto bid for conference champions. I mean, that's the way it should be. You know what I mean? But yeah,
right. And that's my point about this whole thing. We're arguing about what we think it should be, but they don't have those rules in place, so it really doesn't matter. It's just what it is.
Well, it does matter.
Well, it's like if I go to Burger King and ask for a Mexican pizza. I mean, they don't make them, so am I going to get mad at them?
Well, I'll bet a Mexican pizza from Burger King would be good right now.
Of course it
does. Mexican pizza has ketchup on it. Y'all know that, right?
It matters because...
what the fuck is a Mexican pizza?
If they had come out with an actual reason that made sense, instead of, well, Jordan Travis isn't playing, and then you look at the stats between Michigan, who's number one, by the way, their quarterback against Florida State's second and third string quarterback over the last 3 games since Jordan Travis has been hurt, and the second and third string quarterbacks' numbers are better than Michigan's. I'm sorry, your logic doesn't hold up.
You're taking what they say at face value. You just, instead of like just ignore what they're saying because it's like Southern grandmas making excuses. Like the real reason is they just weren't going to keep out Alabama, and whatever reason they had to make up to justify it, they were going to do.
Yeah, well, you're probably right. Yeah,
and I don't think it was just Alabama. I think it was the SEC as a whole.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Was Georgia lost? Yeah, that's what he means.
So we all look at the playoff committee and say they did wrong. They didn't put Florida State in there, but maybe they were looking at, okay, Michigan's in some trouble right now. They've cheated this year and maybe years past, who knows? But they've cheated.
Cheaters.
So maybe they were looking at who can we put in the playoff
on the committee. A little bit
who
sketchy.
can we put in that will beat them? And they looked at Florida State and they looked at Alabama and said Alabama has a better chance. So let's put Alabama in, and that way Michigan can't win the national.
We have people deciding who's going to beat who now.
No, I know. I'm just saying.
Well, and that would be the NCAA's problem anyway. That they take 2 years, 3 years, 4 years to get to the bottom of whatever they want to get to the bottom.
Their job is not to decide who's going to beat who next week. They don't fucking know. Their job is to take the 4 most deserving and best teams. And guess what? Florida State is one of the 4 best teams in the country. They proved it for 13 weeks. Period.
I agree.
Yeah,
I agree 100%.
And I totally agree with that. But I can't help but think of when they were looking at all this, if they were thinking about, okay, if we put Florida State, and I'm not saying, good stuff happens all the time, but if they thought, okay, if we put Florida State in here, then without that quarterback, Michigan's going to beat the crap out of them, whereas Alabama will give a better game, because the bottom line is they are looking for eyeballs on TV sets and money. Those are the 2 most important things to them. It's not about who's deserving. It's not about whatever criteria they could think of this year that's contradictory to last year. They want eyeballs on TV sets.
What's great about
we'll leave one thing out too, whether it's wrong or right, Alabama's probably going to win the goddamn thing. So
yeah,
I mean, it'll justify all this bullshit. Let's say, see, look, Alabama won.
Right.
That's my point, Tim. Like,
but there's 8 of us in here, and none of us are Florida State fans, so we all agree Florida State kind of got.
I'm a Miami fan. I hate Florida State.
Everybody hates Florida State. They got screwed.
Tell everybody how strong college football is. We want college football to be fair.
You got me here justifying Washington, Oregon. That makes me want to go take a shower.
Right. Exactly. well, and a problem that you have with a situation like this, in my opinion, and I've heard other people with the same opinion, is that, okay, you can look at how many times the SEC has won the national championship. So now you go down the line and say, well, they keep winning, so they deserve to be there. But when they just get put into the thing over other people just because they are the SEC, now you've created this horrible little circle of their odds of winning it are automatically going to be better.
So Georgia didn't deserve to be in it last year?
No, of course Georgia deserved to be in it last year, and Alabama deserves to be in it this year, but in my opinion, Florida State earned their way just like TCU did last year and deserves to be there.
We now have LW justifying Georgia. Do you need to go take a shower with bleach as well? After
right, we all got the Ajax out.
We're all scrubbing ourselves.
Brillo pads and Ajax. God Lord.
And trust me, I'm a Tennessee fan. I can't stand Alabama or Georgia. So, in my opinion,
ditto.
Both of them could have been left out. Because I feel like because Florida State did exactly what they were supposed to do, which is they went undefeated, they won their conference, they should have been in over Alabama. regardless of what the matchup was going to
I
be,
agree.
because
Well,
you don't know what's going to happen in a damn game. You can have Vegas get on there and say, oh well, so and so is a 2-touchdown dog. Well, they can also still come in and beat them on that day. That's
Also,
the beauty of a tournament.
Football's a sport, and all sports are about matchups. Period.
Right.
About matchups. It's just like, well, we were talking about boxing earlier, right? You could have an amazing boxer, but if the guy he's fighting is really good at what his weakness is, you could see a massive upset. That
Yes.
could happen. So
Yes.
we don't know. That's why you play the damn game, like everyone's panel said. Like I thought that Oregon was gonna cover that game. I was almost
Yep.
convinced of it. But you got to watch the game played. They came out with a great game plan. They shut them down. They took away their run game. It was phenomenal what they did. To say that, and by the way, yes, Jordan Travis is amazing. Their receivers are amazing. Johnny Wilson, awesome. But that defense was the high. I mean, that Florida State defense now is staying home. That defense deserves a chance to say, you know what? Fine, we lost our quarterback. We're going to shut your ass out.
Well, how long has the SEC said that defenses win championships? And now you have one of the best defenses in college football, and they're told that they can't play in the national championship.
Also, guys,
Defense
I'll
mattered.
agree with you.
Hey, defense mattered until Saban changed his mind and decided he needed a high-powered offense.
Defense mattered until 2008 when USC had by far the best defense in football, and they left them out of the BCS game. That's when that all stopped.
Yeah.
Also, one thing that I think has not been talked about is everybody's talking about Florida State like they have the bad news bears like kid at quarterback. No, it's Tate Rodemaker, right? I mean, the kid's a super mega blue chip who I think he did start at one point over Jordan Travis.
Yeah.
So it's not like they don't have a quarterback. They just for one game happen to not have him.
Right.
Yeah, and here's a question here. Tony is like, his job is college football consulting and stuff like that.
Mostly corporate stuff, but yeah.
Right, but what is the, like, as far as viewership compared? I know you did a breakdown not too long ago, and you were doing the breakdown with like who views, which teams drawing the most views as far as TV. Where does FSU and Alabama stand in comparison?
So remember the big things that drive viewership are the channel that it's on is the most important thing. The second most important thing is the rank of the teams. And the third most important thing is the historical rank of the teams. So when you're talking about like Alabama's number one over time because they have been winning national championships. So it's not it wouldn't be a material difference between the two.
So you're saying Florida State is wide right?
Fools. I'm sorry. Highlight Blister Bill's comment. Put it on the screen, please. There is at least 4 teams that Florida State beat this year, but they beat the fuck out of Washington State. I'm just letting you know.
What about Washington State?
Washington or Washington State, Pete?
You put the wrong comment up there.
Oh, I'm sorry.
He said FSU.
Sorry.
Oh yeah.
Which one?
Toward the
Yeah,
bottom.
the second to last one.
FSU couldn't beat Washington State. Okay. What's up, Blister? What's up, Blister Bill?
I've heard
Good
a lot
to
of
see you.
dumbass comments
Okay,
today.
but Washington State could beat Florida State and then lose to like a junior
Wake Forest.
Yeah.
That's how Wazoo's been doing it for a century, though. They'll beat the number one team and then lose to like Portland State.
The key thing here is, guess what? Florida State didn't lose to Washington State, and they didn't lose to anybody else for 4 months, period. You can type all about who would beat who.
Everybody do please. Mr. Duggar is my YouTube lawyer, and he is making sure everybody knows that this channel does not endorse or take serious anything said by channel's chat or panel, and is for entertainment purposes only. Thank you, Mr. Duggar. He also specializes in bird law, so if anybody has any inquiries, hit up Mr. Duggar Fishing. Always good to see you, Mr. Duggar. Everybody loves Mr. Duggar. Mr.
Right on, Mr. Duggar.
Loves everybody.
Bubs.
I'm claiming that Colorado would beat the Kansas City Chiefs. Does that make it true?
Well, with Deion Sanders, I mean,
Ken would tell you that.
Shador, man. They got Shador.
Question. Can I ask a panel a question, Tia?
Of course, Joey.
I'm curious. So Michigan, let's say they go on to win a national championship this year, and the NCAA next year tells them they got to vacate some victories. I'm trying to figure out why do we have Michigan in there? I would have kept Michigan out, but Florida State. Anybody saying Alabama, keep them out? I would have kept Michigan out. I mean, my God, they've got some stuff going on up there. So
you're gonna hear, Joey. You're gonna hear the fact that they played the. I mean, what's weird to me is it's 4 teams. They're calling it a playoff. I mean, that's not 4 teams is not a playoff either. That's a whole nother thing to go about. But they're gonna say, well, we won the playoff. None of the games that we played off were vacated. Therefore, we're the champions. That's what they'll say. Yeah. And they'll probably hold on to it.
So what do you think about, like, I've heard of quite a few people say this. Say Florida State does miraculously go out there and beat Georgia somehow. I mean, obviously that's not.
Oh, Georgia didn't want to be there, is what they'll say.
Well, of course, that's what they'll say. Should Florida State do the Alabama thing and claim a national championship?
You mean the Central Florida thing?
The wish.com,
There's a trophy shop in Orlando where you can buy wish.com national championship.
Wish.com national championship.
Well, that would be great this year. Alabama wins the Natty. FSU beats Georgia. Liberty beats Oregon. We'll have 3 national champions.
Right.
Best meme I saw this week. Florida State Barstool put up, went on a long rant about getting left out. And then the UCF Barstool account replied with that meme of the guy standing there with the noose around his neck going, first time.
Yeah, I saw that. That was really funny.
See, if I want to address Blister Bill here in the comment section, who said the Mountain West, what did he say? The Mountain West has harder strength of schedule than the ACC. Oh, come on. I thought we proved that already, that the group of 5 coming into a Power 5 conference can't compete week in and week out. You had the 4 best group of 5 teams in Cincinnati.
He's definitely a troll. He's either a troll or he's a completely fucking brain dead.
Oh, Blister Bill's cool. He's trolling. He even put a smiley face after it. I like Blister Bill. Blister Bill's funny. You have to understand, like, I mean, this channel here is a lot of college football fans, but there's a lot of people who just like to joke around too. So they're going to get under our skin. But right here, the tavern. What's up, my girl? So good to see you. I've still got that $1 bill for you. Just waiting to send it to you. Just email me, please, so I can send it to you. travelingfools2020@gmail.com. And I saw y'all were going live again. That's really cool. Can't wait to catch it.
Where has that $1 bill been?
I don't know. I mean, I got it for change at the Claremont Lounge.
It's a long way.
I want to know.
So we haven't heard from Friction Vixen tonight. So
I know.
I want to hear from her. I want to hear what she thinks about the playoffs.
Uh-oh.
We can't hear you, Friction.
Can you hear me now?
Hey, we can hear you now.
Hear me now?
Okay, so that's why, or probably why you couldn't hear me earlier. I may have been looking down, but I was sitting here talking. Yeah, I 100% agree with Pete, and I know somebody had said something when Pete had first argued, or had first made the statement that he felt that it was unfair for FSU. Somebody made a statement that in 2003, they said 2003, and then they changed their year. That 2 people had played in the championship game, or in the playoffs for the championship game, for that had both had a loss.
2014 State lost to quarterback,
or 2 losses or something. And in the end, I think that's why it was easier to to pick one over the other, is because they still both had losses. But when you have an undefeated team, it seems really unfair. And I was actually trying to find some of my own conspiracy music over here, because I tell my husband all the time that I know that when it comes to setting up teams or deciding who's going to be playing in the playoffs, picking Alabama over Georgia, God, how would I say this? Regardless of who you're picking to play against each other, in the end, there's a lot of things that are, I believe, are definitely rigged. And regardless of who you actually put in the playoff game, there's still a lot of other things that can be done, I think, to really help move a game, especially if it's a close game. I don't want to get into this Georgia and Alabama game. And, people always do, bitch about the refs and, oh, they didn't make this call and they didn't make that call, but they made this call and they made that call against this team. And, I sound like every other college football fan when I say that. But I honestly, I've noticed this for years since I was a kid. There were certain things that I just, when you're making every single call on one team, and it's not until, halfway through the game that you even start making calls on the other team, I feel like there's part of that is rigged. And I think that is another thing that is helping, them line their pockets with some more money. Oh. But yeah, no, I think it's 100% unfair. And yeah, Georgia, such a disappointment.
Yeah, and I'm an Alabama fan. I actually agree with everybody. It's just I think it's not as clear cut and conspiratorial as people are making it out to be. But.
Also, how is Texas escaping any blame?
Oh, that
yes.
Me.
What was Oklahoma's record this year?
10-2.
Texas fans are just riding clear right now. They're like,
oh yeah.
Hey Pete, B Bean's got this comment up here for you.
I don't have a comment that is suitable for you two for that. Let's put it that way.
But I will also say I do find it interesting the chair of the committee is from the ACC. Like, are they going to go to the next AD meeting?
What were you saying earlier, Pete? Who wasn't? You heard Paul Feinbaum?
Whoever the chair is has nothing to do with who they select to get in. So I don't even know what it has to do with it.
He's not a very good chair.
First of all, the chair of the ACC, the way the ACC run is terrible. That's great, but that has nothing to do with whether or not Florida State should be in there or not.
What was that? What was that Paul Feinbaum stuff you were saying earlier, Pete?
The chairman of the playoff is the NC State AD.
So Paul Feinbaum went on the Matt Berry show, I think it's what it was, and said that he thinks that the reason that Florida State got left out was because Florida State was very vocal about leaving the ACC earlier in the year, and he thought that the committee was punishing them for that. Now, I have no idea whether that's true or not. Of course, it seems silly to even fathom that. But he said that. I don't know why he said that. I don't know if he knows people on the committee or anything like that. But he did say that, and that's an interesting thing to think about. I mean, what do you guys think about that?
Well, that's been going around for a couple days.
NC State athletic director.
I think Paul Feinbaum's an idiot. So
everybody thinks Paul Feinbaum's an idiot.
When it comes to football, he's an idiot. When it comes to broadcasting and getting an audience, he's a genius.
He's a genius, yes.
Yeah, you get Tammy from Birmingham to call in, and
that's better than Tyler from Spartanburg.
Well, isn't it Ballard? Isn't it Ballard that's always calling in to Paul Feinbaum? Ballard Sport.
He called in and talked to Nick Saban one time.
Yeah, exactly. Good old Ballard. You think Ballard's going to show up to the Slop Olympics?
He better.
That's pretty close to him, isn't it?
Bean made a comment in the section. He says, in 1993, one-loss FSU was put in a bowl coalition natty game against Nebraska instead of undefeated 11-0 Auburn. Bean, you got to remember something. In 1993, number 1 was Nebraska. Number 2 was West Virginia. Number 3 was Florida State. And number 4 was Auburn. So,
and number 5 has 0 to do with the playoff committee. That was 1992.
Right.
Whatever you said.
Right, 1993. And West Virginia should have played Nebraska for the national.
There was no playoff committee back then.
No.
And they just chose money. They chose Florida State over West Virginia.
Well, anybody who thinks this stuff isn't about money is, just wearing a blindfold wandering around. I mean, you might as well be Helen Keller.
Sure.
A couple casual fans.
That's why Alabama got put in over FSU.
There's all the casual fans probably won't watch now because of FSU. That didn't help them any. And I saw something on Twitter, some journalist guy talking about putting Alabama over FSU saved them 150. How do you quantify that? Who's doing that math? What's the breakdown on that? That's all nonsense.
Wait, what did they say?
They said putting Alabama in over FSU saved ESPN $150 million.
What he's saying is putting Alabama in earned them $150 million more than it was in there. I don't know where that number comes from. I find it hard to believe, but
it doesn't make any sense.
But I would not put it past. There are a lot of people out there that are. I mean, look no further than Florida, Kentucky, South Carolina, and Missouri, and Texas A&M fans that say if there's not an SEC team in there, I'm not watching, and they probably won't watch. So maybe they're right. I don't know.
Well, I mean, what was the record?
That's okay.
ACC versus
markets anyway.
What was the ACC versus SEC record this year?
6-4, ACC over the SEC.
So the ACC won 6-4 against the SEC, but the SEC is the best conference, right?
No, they're not. They're the third best.
Well, no, I'm
going to say this.
No, not this year.
Most of those ACC wins were over Florida. Florida was shit this year.
Right.
Alabama fan,
we're not cussing.
Most of the SEC wins were over Florida.
No, I mean look at Miami. We absolutely curb stomped Texas A&M.
Is there any other way to judge conference to conference other than head-to-head matchups between the conferences? I mean, I don't know what we're talking about here.
No, there's not. And the fact of the matter is the SEC, the quarterback play right now is crap. There's hardly any good quarterbacks in this league, and let's face it, that's what drives a lot of college football.
Well,
is the SEC the best conference for the past 20 years? Yes.
Are Alabama's number 2 quarterback is going in the portal as a lacrosse player?
I saw that. That's hilarious.
Well, this is the reason I'm not a SEC homer. I hope, guy up there, I hope Tennessee goes 0-12 every year.
Well, of course.
I hope Auburn goes 0-12 every year.
Yeah.
I pulled for Oregon to beat Auburn. I pulled for FSU to beat Auburn. I don't care about that crap.
Right.
But these little individual matchups, Mississippi State beat Arizona, who's ranked and on fire right now. Does that mean the SEC is better than,
it doesn't.
What does that have to do with Washington being good? It doesn't have anything to do with it.
Forget the ACC. If you look at out of conference games for the SEC this year, they're below 500. That includes the ACC, the Big Ten, and whoever else they played, the Big 12 or the Pac-12. They're below 500. They're not the best conference this year. I'm sorry. Cry about it. Type about it.
I think the Pac is probably the best conference this year.
Who?
The Pac-12.
So. Well, last year were the second best, but this year they're third behind Big Ten and SEC. I think.
No, you mean the ACC.
See, I don't. Okay, so this is what I'm getting told with all the ACC people. There's some really good ACC teams, but I just think the top half of the SEC is better than the top half of the ACC. That's just my opinion.
You had 14 teams in each conference and not just 3.
Yeah, Okay, good
And
point.
the problem is we will never know now. Well, I guess we will
can
know.
never know, really.
We saw it. We do know. They played 13 games against other teams, and they have a losing record. We do know.
Wake Forest beat Vanderbilt, so that means Alabama sucks.
We're talking about with Florida State. We do know how good Florida State is. They won all their fucking games, all of them. I mean, what are you guys talking about?
Also, Pete, as the cheerleader for Florida State right now, do you need to borrow the Ajax and the Brillo pad?
I'm not a cheerleader for anybody but Clemson.
I know, I'm just kidding.
Who's not?
This is how I feel when I tell people that Bo Nix or Michael Penix Jr. deserve the Heisman. I need to go clean myself.
Okay, so can we all agree, other than friction, I'm sure, can we all agree that we hope Florida State beats Georgia somehow?
Not
Absolutely.
This guy.
Wish.com national champions.
See, LW just said go Dogs. I'm cropping that. We're gonna make a YouTube short out of that.
Go ahead. I only pull for Georgia when they play Tennessee and Auburn, and then now Florida State.
LW, do you want to make a bet on that game? I'll bet you a signed $1 bill that FSU. The first time in my life that I've ever bet for God, I feel so dirty. Do you want to make this bet?
I already owe you $1 from last year on the
Tennessee. I know you can bring me 2 different ones at the Slob Olympics that you're going to be at this year. Yeah, LW is coming to the Slob Olympics this year, Pete.
He is?
Yep.
Yes,
oh. Can't wait to meet you, brother.
Yeah, we can argue about this live.
We won't argue. I'll be too drunk to argue with you.
Right, there's not a lot.
I'll be too drunk to give a shit about arguing.
Yeah, me too.
I'm trying to talk Volstorm into coming as well. I've been trying to talk him into coming.
I know you've been trying really hard.
I know, man. It's pretty tempting, isn't it?
It is awful tempting.
Panama City Beach, the beginning of March, hanging out with a bunch of slobs, drinking beer, competing. That would be cool. When we went to the Tennessee game, we tried to hook up with Volstorm and a buddy of his, but weren't you there, Volstorm, or no?
Oh yeah. I was
there.
We just couldn't meet up.
Nah, too many people, too many beers, too early in the morning.
Exactly. Well, that was the problem. It was too damn early in the morning.
Fun game, though.
I looked down through the Pac-12, the rankings, top to bottom, and I looked down through there and think, okay, could Florida State beat these teams? Washington, no. Oregon, no. Arizona, no. Oregon State, I'm not sure. I wouldn't say yes. Utah, maybe. So there's 4 teams in the Pac-12, but I don't think Florida State could beat, and that's Washington, Oregon, Arizona, and Oregon.
You're not on the committee then. There's been 4 teams all year that people said Florida State wouldn't beat, but they did. I mean, I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah, Florida State, a really good team.
Or
to be in the playoff, should be in the playoff. But at the same time, if you think about the conferences and you look, could State beat Ohio State, Michigan, and Penn State? No.
Now pull up.
But you don't know that they could. You don't know that they could.
Pull up all the other playoff teams that got in and their schedules and who they barely beat that fucking sucked. Dude, go ahead. I'll wait.
That's true.
Yeah, Auburn was pretty rough.
Texas and Alabama both had a bunch of clunker games that they squeezed.
Did you not see Alabama versus Auburn 2 weeks ago?
They about got beat.
Yeah, Washington. They barely beat a team that lost 7 out of 8 in the season. They barely beat Arizona State.
Yeah. My biggest concern is that they put them in the week before with the same parameters. They put them in the week before in the top 4, but took them out the next week after a victory and said, well, they've got some injured players. Well, they had them injured players going into that week, and they put them in the top 4. What the hell's the difference? I can't figure that out.
Yeah, that's the bad part. And, everybody's saying that it's going to be solved next year because of the fact that, we're moving to a thing. So this is no problem. This is nothing. Now, if Florida State goes out there and lays a goose egg and Georgia just, beats the tar out of them, that's going to shut up a lot of people. But that's not the same matchup. I mean, Florida State earned their spot.
I know, but if Florida State says, "But we just didn't want to be here," here's my question: does that make them truly an SEC team if they use the SEC line?
Well, if Georgia loses, that's going to be the thing. These players opted out. They didn't want to play, and it wasn't the full team, and blah, blah, blah. Yeah,
I've already got that from Florida State fans.
Wait, do what now, Tony?
I've already got that from Florida State fans because my point is, and I've said this to people, and people get mad at me for saying this. The committee has given Florida State a chance to prove Florida State right or to prove the committee right. And I know everybody says, they don't have to. Well, you know what? Yeah, they do. Because Florida State's telling us that every game matters and you win on the field, Okay. So the committee has done something very dangerous, but very interesting. And that is they've put Florida State against Georgia, and Alabama just beat Georgia. So the metric is, can you beat Georgia? If you can't, Alabama's a better team. I mean, obviously you can't always use that but just from an optics standpoint, the committee's given them a chance to prove the committee wrong or to prove the committee right. So I can't wait.
Optics standpoint, can Texas beat Alabama, Tony?
They already did.
Okay, so why is Alabama in there? Why is Alabama in there?
There's not a team in the top 20, 25 that can't beat any other team.
I'm not arguing. I'm just saying that they have a chance to show whether the committee was right or the committee was wrong.
Yeah, listen.
There is no proving whether the committee is right or wrong. There's zero outcome that can prove them right or wrong.
Listen, if Florida State got in over Bama, I would have been like, well, they were 13-0. I wouldn't have been mad about it. I mean,
right.
Would have been frustrated, but hey, how can I argue 13-0 and we have lost?
I agree.
But since they got in, all I'm going to do is talk about, okay, well, their resume. After the regular season was over and they played the conference championship, they beat the number one team that the committee said was number one for weeks and weeks and weeks.
Committee said.
So, well, I mean, they won fucking 30 games in a row. I mean,
so does the committee change every year?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, because there's no criteria.
Right. So what's the logic in that? So I mean, isn't one, like I heard earlier on the ACC show on Pigskin Pete's channel? Isn't the one guy like owns some kind of like Ace Hardware or something like that or something, and he's on the college football
Rice on there 1 year. I mean, these it's just there's no difference between the people on the committee and the people who are on here right now.
Yeah, there's
as far as deciding who's the best teams. There isn't.
They make more money than we do.
Yes,
we need to do this at a fabulous resort next time.
Right. Maybe we should. What if we were the committee? That would be cool.
Right. And let's say the committee was made up of nothing but former head coaches. FSU would have got in, and it would have been the quickest vote of all time. And if the committee was all football players, that would be interesting because I think it would go kind of be 50-50. They would kind of look at what Alabama's done, and then there would be some like, hey, we won 13. We went undefeated, but
if the committee was ESPN, then it would be 3 SEC teams in Colorado.
I'm Colorado. Colorado should be in.
That's funny, Tony. That's exactly true.
Colorado.
Did you see Colorado beat TCU week 1? They're amazing.
Mm-hmm. I had so much fun. I had so much fun trolling that Colorado guy, Pete. That was so much fun.
Colorado was 1-8 in the Pac-12 last year. They got their way better team, and they were 1-8 in the Pac-12 this year. If they finish 0 and Dion got Sportsman of the Year. If they finish 0-9, can he be Time Magazine Man of the Year?
Oh, he's probably going to be like who does the sexiest man of the year? He's probably going to hit that one next.
Well, he's single now because his wife or his fiance is in the transfer portal.
Oh man.
My wife
Uncle,
transfer
Uncle-
portal for the last 15 years.
Uncle Lou said the committee is a bunch of janitors at ESPN.
Jump on here, Lou. Jump on here if you want to. I'd like to hear Lou's thoughts on this.
Drum. He doesn't care about college football. He just cares about the SEC. It's clear.
Well, yeah. Well, I mean, he doesn't. I mean, he doesn't know that much about college football.
Well,
So.
I mean, he did say that he thought that Florida State should be in there, but he comes on my channel and in here and just says, "Oh, ACC, ACC, ACC." I'm the only one around here, not named Uncle Lou, who's stumping for college football as a whole, not a conference.
Well, I sent him the link, Pete. So I mean, he can come in here and defend himself if he wants to.
I know he said he put Florida State in.
And by the way, I want to reiterate again. I think
ACC, ACC, which I haven't said anything about the ACC at all.
Yeah, see, I don't like homers like in that sense. You know, even me, I hate FSU. I don't hate any college football team, to be honest. But as a Miami fan, I mean, I have to obviously not root for FSU, but I feel bad for FSU. I mean, God must hate Indians is all I can figure.
If FSU miraculously somehow beats Georgia,
I can confirm God does hate Indians.
He does.
Yeah.
Yeah. Aren't you trying to get your channel back? I think we gotta be careful.
Oh, I'm sorry, Native Americans. I'm sorry. Thank you, Tim. Thank you, Mitt. Thank you, Mitt.
I thought we were talking about
He wasn't specific.
They're gonna come for you. They're gonna come for
exactly. No. Hey, Jerry. Yeah, I always think of that Seinfeld with the cigar store Indian. You know. And
so I'd like for Uncle Lou to come in because I'd like to hear what he thinks about the FSU Georgia matchup.
I'll tell you what he thinks. I already heard what he thinks. He said he thinks Florida State should be in there, but the ACC fans should stop crying. How about I'm not an ACC fan. I'm a college football fan. This is bad for the sport.
It is. It
the
is very
conference.
bad.
Yeah.
Now you can put a team out for injury. So you better think about that, Lou. You know, I mean, y'all lose a quarterback 1 year or something. Hey,
Well, and that's the whole problem. You've now set a new precedent.
Yeah.
Well, if you have I mean, it doesn't necessarily have to be a quarterback. It could just be some star player that's on the team. You can say, well, he's out, so you can't make the playoffs now. And that's going to apply more and more next year when you get to those teams that are not in the top four, the ones that are trying to get into that 12th spot. They're going to look at that.
He proves my point, is that the SEC homers only see conference.
Yes.
They can't even fathom looking outside of that.
well, I mean, isn't like the highest like scoring college football player isn't that Alabama? Isn't that the guy? What if he gets hurt? Does that mean that they fall out of it? That kicker?
yeah, but the kicker.
well, also
The field goal guy.
Part of the issue is that the network that pays for all of this is the biggest SEC homer there is.
Yeah.
Well, they have a vested
They're paying
interest. They have a financial vested interest in the SEC. I mean, it goes beyond just, you know what I mean, homering for them. They have done for past decades. Now it's severely
Earn the right to get boat raced.
Let me ask
earn the right to get boat raced by Alabama. I mean, by Auburn too. I mean, what you think the outcome of a game is irrelevant to whether or not they earned to be there or not.
You are correct.
Let's think about that for a second. Last year, TCU got boat raced by Georgia. We all know this. But guess what? Georgia beat Michigan. TCU beat Michigan and Georgia beat TCU. I'm sorry.
Michigan beat Michigan.
Do you think, who do you think is better?
Deserve to be there.
Florida State?
Boat race.
Who's better, Florida State or Auburn?
Florida State.
All of you, any of you.
Florida State.
no Florida State.
Did you not see the game 2 weeks ago?
Oh, yeah.
Did anybody watch Florida State barely beat Boston College, who has the same record as Auburn? I mean, I don't know what your point is.
My point is, just because you think that somebody is better than another team doesn't matter. What matters is the wins. That's what matters.
Yeah.
Unless
And
you're
also
Cincinnati.
LW, it was the way they won. Almost losing to a bad team, but literally, if Auburn had played just remotely decent quarters defense, there's no way they should have scored a touchdown on that play. I mean, it was absurd. The defense on that was terrible. They should have lost that game.
Okay, and Boston College shouldn't have. FSU shouldn't have let Boston College come back from a 3-score lead.
I don't know.
Okay.
I think those two games are apples to oranges.
Oh.
All right.
I saw.
And I think
Yeah, they are, because
Coming
one of
back
them is the top 2
whether we like it or
rivalry
not,
in the
they
country.
were not going to not take an SEC team.
Didn't happen.
Well, Texas barely beat Houston, if you think about it. I mean, 31-24, and the game wasn't decided until the fourth quarter. So, I mean, it was a good close game. Texas struggled against Houston. Texas struggled a couple of times this year. They struggled really bad against Kansas State. I can't remember the final score, but it was like 34-31 or 33-30 or something. It was really close.
Was it overtime or was it like a last-second field goal or something? I think it might have even been overtime.
I think it was overtime. I think it was an overtime game.
I think Washington is a really badass team. They had shitty games too. So
yeah, everybody has a shitty game.
Everybody has, except Michigan, I guess.
Texas barely beat TCU 29-26, and TCU is one of the worst teams in the Big 12 this year. So
this comment right here.
he's in there going. He's in there going. Tell someone, Pete, that someone tell Pete that I wanted. I said that you said that Florida State should be in there. I'm not the one beating the drum of the conference. You are.
Pete, can we get a war chant?
Dress up like Elizabeth Warren and dance around. Come on.
Yeah. I'm more Indian than she is.
Trying to get monetized again. That's
right. Exactly.
All right, maybe I won't do that then.
Yeah. Friction. Come on now. But what kind of idea did you have? No, the whole thing's funny, and it's all going to play out. Unfortunately, it's all going to play out. But, it's really wrong.
It is.
But it may not play out. I mean, Florida State could beat Georgia, and then it's not played out. Right? There's still no.
If Florida State beats Georgia,
Joey.
I'm not saying they're going to. I'm just saying.
Wins.com national championship.
Hold on. Why is it crazy to think that Florida State can beat Georgia? Go. I want to hear this.
Because I think that on both sides of the ball and line play, their defense will be fine. But I honestly, what is without Travis? What is Florida State going to do against that defense? I know it's not the defense of last year, but Georgia didn't just lose its defense overnight.
Did you see Georgia play against Georgia Tech?
How many players does Georgia have set out?
Full disclosure, I did not set the game.
Set out. How many players for Georgia?
They almost lost to Georgia Tech. So, yeah, Florida State's miles better than Georgia Tech.
Well, you could say that about everything. You could say, how come Florida State couldn't get a lot of points against Louisville when the week before Kentucky scored 38 on Louisville? So we can go around and round and all these.
Yeah, of course you can. And that's why wins matter. Because every team struggles with somebody, no matter how good they are. And that's the reason that point spreads don't matter. That's the reason that everybody and their mother thought Oregon was going to blow Washington off the map, and they were favored by 10 points and lost. So just saying, I think that this team is better than that team, it's completely meaningless.
I agree.
Can the person that kept talking about ESPN's financial whatever explain to me
except for you on your
how
show.
this went down?
Nobody on here has said that except for you on your show. Nobody.
No, somebody on here said it like 30 seconds before I came on.
Who?
I don't know. I'm asking who said that. Whoever was going on about how ESPN has a vested financial interest and all.
Nobody thinks that.
Well, literally, someone just said it. I don't know if you got shit in your ears and didn't hear it.
Yeah,
but
I definitely have shit in my ear.
Somebody just said it. Does anybody?
I didn't just say it. I said it about 20 minutes ago, but I said it. You don't think
Okay.
that ESPN does not? You don't think ESPN has a financial interest in that?
No, of course they do. They air the games, but you seem to be tying that into the selection process.
It's because it really is, in a way. It really is.
Right. So that
Well,
I want you to walk me through that. So
I want you to walk me through how the
who
ACC
is it from ESPN? Like somebody from ESPN gets a hold of Ward Manuel, the athletic director of Michigan, and convinces him to vote for Bama to prop up ESPN when Michigan has a contract with Fox? Is that like, I don't understand the process of how this is happening. Who is it from ESPN that's getting into this committee room and convincing the athletic director of Michigan, who has a TV contract with Fox, to alter their playoff vote in a manner that would benefit ESPN and the SEC? How is that?
Right, Lou, I will
happening?
say this. The only thing there is a conflict of interest. There's a conflict of interest. ESPN should stay out of it and shouldn't write articles before the playoff committee ever makes their decisions and give their playoff committee selection. And it be the exact same thing as the playoff committee.
I agree with you on this. I mean, the ESPN owns the ACC network too, so I don't know how that would work out.
That's my only issue. I don't understand. Like, it, just stretch your mind for a second and ponder the possibility that you just disagree with the conclusion that those 13 people came to.
That's exactly where I stand. But you're on here calling me white Tonto and saying that I'm stumping for Florida State. I'm a Florida State fan.
Well, no, you're not a Florida State fan. You're an ACC. There's nothing wrong with having pride in your conference. There's nothing wrong with that. I'm glad to see it.
I'm not an ACC.
I'm happy to see it.
Fan, sir. You know that.
Well, you've said that for a long time, but what a lot of people have, like Texas and Oklahoma fans said the same thing, but now they're chanting SEC. I mean, it's just what happens. There's nothing wrong with being a fan of your conference. It's no big deal.
I'm not a fan of my conference. I'm a team.
It's okay. Relax. It's fine. It's no big compliment. I'm complimenting you.
SEC homer. I'm a Clemson fan, sir.
Yeah, I'm an SEC homer. Yeah,
I know. Clearly, you are.
There's nothing wrong with having pride in your conference. I mean, I'm happy for all these ACC people. Normally, they only get to act this. They only act this way during basketball season.
Which is being ruined by fucking idiots.
No, I'm happy because normally ACC people only do this during basketball season.
Power 5 conference. That's what bothers me, not the conference.
Then how come you aren't saying that Florida State is 2-0 against the SEC? You keep saying the ACC is 6-4 against the SEC.
I'm combating what people like you were telling me. I'm defending them.
Well, I like that you're saying the ACC's record against the SEC. There's nothing wrong with having pride in your conference. You don't have to wait till basketball season. It's okay to do it during football season too.
I'm spitting facts, not opinion, like the SEC homers do.
So can somebody walk me through the process of how Ward Manuel is strong-armed into propping up the SEC?
Well, first, Bill Gates.
Nobody can. I don't know.
I'm sorry. I want to be clear on this. You're saying ESPN has no influence whatsoever on the committee. Is that what you're saying?
I think ESPN has tremendous influence over Bill Hancock.
How?
Bill Hancock doesn't have a vote. I mean, that's like saying ESPN has influence over me. Well, that's great. I don't have a vote either. Bill Hancock doesn't vote on the playoffs.
Bill Hancock's in the room facilitating the process.
He doesn't vote.
Okay.
Lou's whole position is, the only people's opinion that matters is the playoff committee. Yeah, we know that. We're not fucking retarded. But we can still disagree with it and have an opinion on it. Which I do. And I think it's a shitty fucking opinion. I think it's terrible for the fucking sport. And they set a precedent that is going to ruin the sport down the line. Mark my words.
What is he so mad about?
I've already stated what I'm mad about. Do I need to spell it out for you?
Yeah. I don't understand what you're so mad about.
I'm mad about the fact that the sport is being ruined in front of our eyes, and nobody seems to give a shit because you just care about the SEC.
The sport was ruined 3 years ago when the SEC expanded, 2 years ago when the Big Ten expanded, 3 years ago when the transfer portal came in, 20 years ago when the BCS started, 40 years ago when they let black people in. That the sport has been ruined 100 times, and yet
you think
the ratings are the highest that they've ever been.
Well, I don't know what your point is.
Well, if it's ruined, are you going to keep watching it?
Of course I am.
Yeah, I don't think it's ruined. I mean, the ratings are the highest they've ever been.
It's been ruined for the past 50 years with politics. I still pay attention to that too.
Let me ask you a question. Hey, Lou,
with anything,
yeah,
still have an opinion on it.
Who's Will Shields? Do you know who Will Shields is, Lou? Well, he's the one that votes on this.
He's what?
You know who he is? He's one of the ones that votes on this playoff.
Yeah, I don't know all 13. It's an athletic director from all the conferences and then a couple of media members. Huh?
He owns and operates a gymnasium in Kansas.
Will Shields?
He operates a gymnasium in Kansas, and he's voting on our college football playoff.
Hold on. I'll look it up.
He's a former football player.
Dude, you just said that the ratings are the highest that they've ever been now. And that's true, but what are the ratings going to be in 5-6 years when most of college football fans are disenfranchised and there's just two major conferences and everyone else just has no chance of being, winning a national championship ever again? What's that going to do to the sport?
So everybody's telling me in the chat, Will Shields is a former Nebraska player. So big whoop. Geno Smith's a former West Virginia player. He ain't voting. I'm just saying. So he's a former player. He owns a gymnasium now. He's probably not even up with college.
Right. So he owns a gymnasium in Kansas. He used to play for Nebraska, and now he's just a shill for the SEC.
No, I'm not saying that. I'm saying that we've got people. We got people voting that probably aren't even watching college football. I'm just worried about that. Why are we getting these people to vote? All right. So back when it first started, everybody remembers, we had some great people on that committee, right? They were all athletic directors or all big time college football people that voted for quite a few years. And then all of a sudden it went to all these people that really have, they could call you up, Uncle Lou, tomorrow and say, hey, next year you're going to vote.
Well, 10 of the 13 are athletic directors.
Then we'd have 4 SEC teams in there.
Yeah,
10 of the 13 are athletic directors today. I mean, right. I don't like them either. I don't think they vote right either. So, I mean, I'm with you.
That's
but
what
I don't agree with is that they're doing the bidding of ESPN. That's insane.
Yeah, I don't either. So why do you keep coming at me talking about I'm stumping for the ACC and stumping for Florida State? Well,
I'm not coming at you. I'm congratulating you. But those are two separate issues. I don't understand why it makes you so mad to root for the ACC. I don't get it.
You are entitled to your opinion the same way that I am to mine. But
right. I don't have any issue with your
opinion by putting it down to a conference.
What are you so wound up about?
It's not just you. It's all of the shit that I get.
Well, that doesn't have any. All the rest of that shit doesn't have anything to do with me. So I mean, I think you need to stop fucking yelling at me. That's what I think. Stop yelling at me.
Nobody, including you or anybody else, has been able to come at me with a logical reason why Florida State got left out, other than ACC.
Why would I try to come at you with a reason for that when I think FSU should have been in?
Sir, you're the one saying it, not me.
Can somebody tell Pete again that I think FSU should be in? So why would I make a logical reason why they shouldn't? What?
I said that you said that.
I don't know why you're yelling at me, Pete, but it's starting to piss me off. I haven't done anything to you. I don't know who pissed you off, but it wasn't me.
You can troll me all you want to, motherfucker.
I'm not trolling you, you fucking. You know what? Fuck you, Pete.
That was fun. That was exciting.
Together.
So Alabama's in the playoffs, huh?
And Condoleezza Rice went to Stanford, so she's qualified. Thank you,
How are the
Roger
doggies
Dodger.
doing? Anybody know?
God. I'm sorry. I just look at the committee and I think, all right, so there's Rod West that's on this committee. I mean, does anybody knows what he does? I have no idea what he does for a living, but it has nothing to do with college football.
It sounds like a porn star name.
Well, to lose
Rod West.
Joey, to lose point, when we talk about they can influence people, I want to know what exactly you mean. How do they influence the athletic director at Navy, who has a contract with CBS Sports,
money
to vote for an ES? So you're saying under the table they're giving the athletic director for Navy money?
No, I think Joey. I don't want to not speak for Joey, but I think the inference that people are making a point with this is that the CFP process, which is run by Bill Hancock, who is in the room, literally running the votes. Again, I don't think it's as like conspiratorial under the table, but like they know who pays the bills, and the bills for the college football playoff are paid by ESPN.
Yeah,
and Bill Hancock is running the process.
And how do we figure out that dollar amount they're going to lose because Bama got in over FSU?
I didn't say they're going to lose anything. Their financial interest is absolutely with it's with the ACC and the SEC. It's just they have more investment in the SEC.
And that's not even close. Look at the contracts. I mean, look at the ACC contract. Look at the SEC contract.
I'm not saying there's a conspiratorial thing. I'm just saying they know where their bread is buttered.
It's a lot of money.
It's a lot of money.
Yeah, I'm not sure it has anything to do with that.
I don't know. Did they just shaft? Did they just unspeakably shaft an ACC team to bring in an arguably qualified SEC team?
Well, they shafted FSU.
It has a lot to do with that.
All right, here's my point. Rod West. I just looked him up. Rod West is a president and CEO of utility operations for Entergy Corporation. Entergy Corporation is a Fortune 500 company. You know, now, so this man's the president and CEO of this company. He's got plenty of money that's coming in, and you know, so he can influence his vote. I don't know.
I'm not implying anybody is doing anything.
I'm not implying that either. I'm not implying that either. Let me make that point, Tony. You're right. I'm not implying that he is, but I'm saying, why is he voting on our college football? You know, when he has nothing to do with college football, he has to do with energy.
No, and that's the dumbest thing in the world is why it changes every year and there's different people. And yeah, some of the people are qualified, some of the people aren't qualified. I mean, the whole system is jacked up from the damn beginning when they said you have 5 power conferences and you're only putting 4 in. You knew this would happen eventually. It's funny it's happening in the last year, but I mean, the whole thing is just a circus show to start with.
Yeah, and come next year, number 13 and number 14, they're going to argue. Well, we only
number 4 and number 5 are going to argue over the bye week. I mean, it's going to be.
The people that think it's going to get fixed because the 12-team playoff, 13, 14, and 15 is going to be the same as 5, 6, and 7. Yeah. Oh.
Hey, Friction! I just saw your message there. She's got a leaking washing machine. Friction, if you gotta go, let's. Are you there? Can you hear us?
Can't hear you, Friction.
We can't hear you, Friction. We think you're muted.
Can you hear me now?
We can hear you now.
Okay.
So what's going on? Your washing machine is leaking?
Yeah. I just ended up having half my laundry room floor covered in water the other day.
Well, that's no good. Have you had any have you had to go fishing in your well lately or anything like that?
No. Thank goodness.
That was one of the funniest videos ever.
I say, well, I know some people watch it for different reasons. I know some people like seeing a woman gagging. And
Well, Nate's back. Nate the Great's back in the comments. So.
But you know, the other day, I'm one of those gaggers, I guess, only when it comes to the really, really, really foul things. And I actually got going so bad that I ended up throwing up in my kitchen trash can.
Well, listen. Go take care of the leaking washing machine. Everybody in the thing, if you're not already subbed up to Friction Vixen, there is her link right there. Make sure you sub her up. She's got some really great videos that come out, and is a good friend of mine, friend of the channel, friend of the community. Make sure everybody does go sub her up. That would be awesome.
Yeah, Friction Vixen's great.
Friction helps us host trivia night. When we do trivia night, and that's about to come back. We're about to start doing that trivia night. So everybody do sub her up. She is the Vanna White of the Traveling Fools trivia channel.
I might have to bow.
I'm a little smarter than Vanna White, though. She's like, oh, wait. Oh, wrong one. Whoops.
Yeah, you do a lot better job than Vanna White, and you do it so much more eloquently, I guess is how you say that word.
I just gotta give me some nightgowns.
I'm gonna bow out too, Pigskin Pete. But I wanted to before you leave, because this involves you too. I want to share something.
Also, I was bowing out of the trivia.
So our store, topqualityshirts.com. You can go in there and you can find Pigskin Pete merchandise, Traveling Fools merchandise, Mark Rogers merchandise, a lot of different YouTube personalities. And so I've been working on this today, and I have wiped out everybody's store. There's no merchandise in there, and I started adding merchandise again today. And so because it's New Year coming up, we have new merchandise, we have better merchandise, and so
we got the best merchandise. All you people out there, we got the best merchandise.
We have absolutely the best merchandise on YouTube. Even this used short sleeve shirt right here that I'm showing, even that used short sleeve shirt for $24.99 is better quality than an adult t-shirt on any other channel. It's a lot better than that Teespring stuff that you'll get on anything. So tomorrow I'll be working on Traveling Fools, Pigskin Pete, and the other contributors to the channel, and they'll have new merchandise in there as well. And so we do have some stuff this year, and I want everybody to check it out. We've got socks. You know, we've got,
everybody needs a new pair of socks for Christmas. It's like when Hanukkah Harry comes and he brings you socks. Hanukkah Harry always brings you socks.
I'll get some Pigskin Pete socks for sure.
Yeah. And we have some bomber jackets. We have some bomber jackets this year that are in there.
They're kind of interested in the bomber jackets.
Everything we have is high quality stuff. I mean, there is nothing cheap here. Everything is top quality stuff. I'll tell you how top quality it is. So I did it today, and I did an average to see how much we made off each product. It's like $7.87 that we make off each product on an average. So that tells you
skin tight V-necks for dad bods.
What?
I'll wear that.
Yeah, they have a built-in like 6-pack. It's already like painted on there, so you know.
But yeah, we don't make any money off of this stuff. It's just we'd love for you guys to go and check it out. Topqualityshirts.com, and I'll have more merchandise in there tomorrow. Right now, only thing in there is Mark Rogers. We have the new stuff coming out, and I'll be working on Traveling Fools, Pigskin Pete tomorrow, and Eat 'em Dogs. I mean, and Ben and Sam. Exploring with Ben and Sam. So check the website out. Get your merchandise.
Yeah, check it out. Christmas time is coming up. Ho ho ho! Everybody, check that.
You learn something new every day, and I never thought I'd hear today. Joey just said that Traveling Fools has an Obama jacket. I am pretty amazed by that.
An Obama jacket? No, he said bomber jacket. Bomber jacket.
Oh, are you sure? I think it's an Obama jacket. I think you're the fire.
No, I don't shop at good. I don't shop at Goodwill. I don't shop at Goodwill, Tim.
That's not what you told me.
I thought what Joey just said. He said Obama jacket. I heard him.
No, Joey never said Obama. I promise you, Joey never said that name.
What an outfit that would be. An Obama jacket and some traveling fool socks.
Yeah, exactly. And nothing else. And nothing else. It'd probably get you a free cell phone.
I'm gonna cruise
What's
on
up,
out of
morning
here.
mother? What's up, morning mother?
I
Good to
love
see
all
you.
y'all. TF, thank you for having me on. I love all you guys. I'm gonna go to bed. So
Love you, Joey. Love you, Joey. Appreciate all the hard work you do too, my friend. Appreciate it.
see you guys later.
All right, see
Yeah.
you later, Joey.
Man.
Bye, Joey.
That was fun. An Obama jacket. Screw you, Mitt. Screw you, Mitt.
Yeah, I see Obama.
Joey's still on here. You need to make an Obama jacket for traveling fools.
Right, exactly. Yeah, we should make that actually.
Oh no.
Yeah, I actually just thought about that. I was like, that could actually be hilarious.
Yeah, you could say Big Mike across the back. It'd be
Oh,
cool.
you're trying to get monetized, buddy.
Oh shit! Yeah, we got to get that back. We got to get that monetization back. I was talking about Michael Jordan because he is the best basketball player ever. So, what do you think, Volstorm? What do you think of this crazy crew right here?
Oh, I love it. It's nice to be able to talk college football with people that actually have a damn brain.
Well, I mean, don't toot our horns too much.
You haven't heard me talk long enough, buddy.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Matt, on that note, y'all have a good night.
Hey, Friction, as always, thanks so much for always coming up here and hanging out and doing all your beautiful things. I hope you had a great dinner with your in-laws today. Happy birthday to your mother-in-law.
Thank you. I will let her know that there's a special shout out on YouTube.
There you go. Happy birthday, Friction Vixen's mother-in-law.
A personal cheesecake, a big cheesecake. I did I've been cooking all damn day. I'm also kind of tired, so it's fun always having to deal with these things. Oh, on top of that, you guys want. But I know this is a partially on my channel thing, but fools, I know that you'll recognize this from a couple of years ago when I got a brand new present today. I'll be right back.
All right.
Oh no, what is this?
Uh-oh. I don't know. We're trying to get monetized. We're trying to get our monetization. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah.
Oh man. There we go. I don't know why YouTube hates me so much.
Might be all the F-bombs we threw tonight.
It's probably the Obama jacket.
It might be that Obama jacket.
It
Damn,
could
Joey.
be. It's all Mitt's fault. Look at that. We got chicks.
I'm
We
not
got
the one
chicks.
making Obama jackets for you, so don't blame
I think
me.
the traveling fool socks is pretty egregious myself, but
I dig chicks.
This is one single winter chick that I have. The other ones that she's sitting
I
on.
like
are
winter
fake.
chicks.
So this is going to be one chick that I get for the next probably 4 or 5 months at least. And it's not going to have a friend or anybody to grow up with.
Do you have any summer chicks? They're hotter.
I used to get like 6 chicks every
Yeah,
4 or
winter
5
chicks
months
get
before I
fat.
got married, but goddamn, now it's.
I've been putting all my weight.
I'm starting to reassess my life here. This is.
I'm sorry, trying to get remonetized. Hope you can hear that.
So what do you have to do to get remonetized? That's what I want. So you got rid of the video.
All right.
You got rid of the controversial videos.
We deleted 3.2 million views of videos off of our channel. So I'm hoping now possibly YouTube will put us back in their good graces. So
Do you appeal?
I've done appeal. I've done appeals. I've done everything.
Appeals.
Oh,
When
oh,
did they
of
say
course.
your strikes would come off so you can be
We don't
remonetized?
have any strikes. That's the funny thing. We have no strikes, no copyrights,
What was
no
their
nothing.
reason?
I posted a stupid Al Bundy thing making fun of Dylan Mulvaney, and they got mad.
Oh, so you got community guidelined.
No, I didn't get
Really?
community guidelines or anything. No, I just had one viral video, and it pissed YouTube off because they didn't like it. So anyway, YouTube, we love you. We love you, YouTube. We will
Shit,
never
it may
make
never
any,
happen then.
Yeah, we will never make any jokes again. I promise.
Yeah.
Just please. What's up, Squid Tart? Good to see you. No, Volstorm, you'd have fun in this community. You need to check out Pigskin Pete does a call-in show every Wednesday and every Friday night, all about college football. Even during like the off season. I mean, this runs all year, 365 days a week. Or a year.
That might not be true.
A week.
So
I think that it was Pete's show that was my gateway drug to all of you guys.
Mine too. Well, actually, Coach Coop was mine. He turned me on to Pete's show. But yeah, you need to Volstorm. You need to sum up Pigskin Pete. Definitely. I mean, like seriously, and you need to sub up the voice of college football too, because Tony and Tim, they do a lot of shows there, and they're all call-in shows, stuff like that. You'd really love this community if I know you love college football as much as I do.
Oh yeah,
and there's like 365 days a year college football talk goes on with all these people.
I'd rather listen to college football in the off season than I would basketball or baseball.
Right, especially when I'm a Miami fan. I agree with you. The off season's great. I mean, being a Tennessee fan, it's got to suck as well.
Yeah, it's perfect. Everybody's undefeated in the off season. So
the off season's the most fun. I mean, just to be honest, we have more fun in the off season doing these shows and doing all this stuff in the call-ins, and it goes off and it goes every different direction. Isn't that right, Pete?
My shows go. There's not enough directions to go that direction. I mean, every way. Up, down, left, right, diagonally, 3D, 4D. Yeah, it gets weird.
Yeah, good midday show too. I can't catch it live, but I listen to it. Good midday show.
Thank you. That might be going away too.
Oh, great.
You gonna do away with the midday show?
I'll let you know that
staple of YouTube. You can't be getting rid of that show.
What's up, Stingray? Good to see you, brother. Another Georgia fan coming in here. A lot of Georgia fans. A lot of Georgia fans around here.
Good. Let me say to all of them, roll Tide.
What's up, Big Matt? Yeah, exactly. So what do you think, Volstorm? What's your final take on this?
As far as what? As far as Florida State got screwed?
Yeah.
Because they did. If they'd have gone by just straight up record, yeah, they absolutely got screwed. But the fact of the matter is, are they looking for what's going to be the better matchups? Because their whole goal is, can we get as many people as possible to watch?
And that's bad. And that's bad for the sport.
And to me, I would be more intrigued to see Florida State take on Michigan. It doesn't necessarily mean it's going to have a desirable outcome, but I would at least tune into it.
Yeah. I mean, I'd tune into Beyonce in a thong, but that doesn't have anything to do with college football. I mean, that might get the most view. That might be.
No, what about Lizzo? What about Lizzo?
Standpoint, I'm saying from what they're looking at.
What about Lizzo? Would you tune into Lizzo in a thong?
No.
Okay, just making sure.
No.
Gotta have some standards.
Hey, now we will have no Lizzo slander.
And I wonder why YouTube keeps giving us the boot. God almighty. But I love you guys. And that's the point. I will never stop having fun. And if it means to stop having fun to make $1, I'm not gonna. All right. Fun police is here. So Tim, what do you think about it?
I think they got screwed. We talked about it. You go 13-0 power conference, and you don't in playoffs. It's a broken system. And here's the thing: they're going to realize is that, and I thought about this second step though. So they're going to point to it. If Georgia is most likely, I think, going to win that game, and Alabama's going to win at least one game, I think, and then therefore it's just going to breeze over. But it's not going to excuse the fact that we'll never know what Florida State could have done in the playoffs.
Unless they beat Georgia. If they beat Georgia, it's going to be like the biggest hornet's nest ever. It's going to be like the little kid going up and throwing the rock at the hornet's nest.
Well, and what's going to be interesting is that, the narrative is going to be true that Georgia's going to be pissed off about having to play in a lesser bowl game as opposed to the going into the playoffs. And you're going to see a lot of those guys decide to opt out.
And that'll be an excuse.
I'm not
they
saying
lose,
it'll change the outcome, but I'm saying that's going to happen.
Well, it will change the outcome. And if they lose, then that's going to be the biggest excuse. Oh, we didn't have to. The whole thing is just stupid. And I am glad that next year it is going to a larger playoff. I've been a big proponent of a larger playoff system. I liked 8 teams. I guess it's going to 12. I think 12 is kind of dumb. I think 8 would have been great.
Yes.
But, whatever, at least now. But you're still going to get the bitching from everybody on the outside of 8.
Of course.
You're going to have more of it.
It's going to be 4 more things to bitch about.
Of course you want a 12-team playoff, fools. So your team can get in at 100.
Dude, we need like a 64-team playoff for my team to get in.
Just like basketball.
So your team can get in at 117 and 40.
Right.
You're at least 30th best team.
Hey boys, I gotta head to bed. We'll see you guys. This was fun.
All right, Tony, love you, brother. Tony, if you want to, Tony just recently wrote a book. And it is an ebook, and it is online, and everybody really needs to check that out. Tony, before you go to bed, please, you are a mod on this channel. Please jump in there and drop that link to your ebook. Everybody, please go check out Tony's book that he wrote.
We're finishing up expanding it this week with a whole bunch of other new stuff and some updates and some things like that. So it'll actually be pretty cool.
Yeah, it's an ongoing updated book. It's the history of the Pac-12. It's actually super freaking interesting. I think it's like $3 you can buy this book online. Tony, drop the link to the book in the chat. I know you're always like, Tony's one of these guys, I don't want to drop my own links. Tony, drop the link in the chat to your book. Everybody go check out Tony's book. If you had a friend that wrote a book, wouldn't you fucking read it and give him $3 for it? Jesus Christ.
I think he's our only friend that can write a book, so we should all be proud of him.
Exactly. I couldn't write green eggs and ham, So Tony, please, honestly, drop the link in there.
Okay, let me see if I can find it. Hold on.
If I can find it.
Also, follow
many other rooms.
Follow him on Twitter. He's a good follow.
Oh yeah,
X or whatever it's
nice.
called.
Yeah, what is it? At Tony Altimore, right?
Yeah, just at TJ Altimore.
Oh, at TJ Altimore. Exactly. Follow Tony on Twitter as well. He is a really good follow. Tony is a college football analyst and strategist. All that jazz. So sub him up. It's a good Twitter channel.
All right, thanks. We'll see you guys.
All right, love you, Tony.
See you later, Tony.
Bye-bye.
Hey, man.
I actually have to get off here too. I got to get up in like 3 hours. So
you got to get up in 3 hours. What do you got to do?
What do you mean? What I have to do?
Well, you have to wake up in 3 hours.
Yeah,
that's like 3:30 in the morning. Where are you going?
Nowhere.
Why you got to wake up at 3:30? I'm just curious. I thought
4 hours then, to be exact.
That's still early.
Do you want to schedule what I have to do tomorrow, or
I'm kind of curious. I like C-Dog. I sent him a link earlier. I said, pop on in here, C-Dog. He's like, I'm about to go to bed. That was like an hour and a half ago. And he's still commenting. So, All right, Pete, love you, brother, too. Everybody, do check out Pigskin. Somebody type into the chat. Somebody type in Pigskin Pete or whatever. It'll drop his link. That is honestly my favorite show on YouTube is the Pigskin Pete Show. I haven't missed. I've been a join member for 30-something freaking months of this damn place.
You're one of the longest running join members.
I was your first join member, I think.
You know what? I knew I loved you.
I know, man. I love you more. I'm going to beat your ass at the Slob Olympics again this year. So, it's going to be fun. Can't wait for it. All right. Any of you guys got any last words? We can jump off here. We can hang out in the back room for a second and bullshit. 2, if anybody wants to hang out there. But anybody got any last words? Volstorm, you got anything you want to plug or anything like that?
No, man. Just thanks for having me on. Probably the best place to Best place to find me is on Twitter at @ballstorm00.
Yeah, I know you got quite a few Twitter followers, man. I looked it up. You're kind of rocking on there. That's pretty cool. What was the Twitter? Man. What was the Twitter at again?
It's @ballstorm00.
@Volstorm00. Y'all follow him there. What about you, Mitt?
I'm just enjoying my pain pill kicked in about an hour and a half ago, and I've just been relaxing with it and listening to you guys talk. So I'm good. I'm very good right now.
Mitt's jiving over there in Washington.
Mitt's this close. Mitt's this close to saying Roll Tide.
What about you, LW? What do you got to plug, brother?
I don't have anything to plug yet, but I will in the future.
Well, that's cool. Yeah, I hope you do. I hope you do. That would be really cool. All right, cool guys. Well, y'all stick around for 2 seconds. Let's bullshit in the back room for a second. Love all you guys in the chat. It's been great. We saw some fireworks go off. It was really cool. Have a good night, everybody. Make sure you hit that thumbs up on the way out, and love all y'all. And I got this stupid thing that says new cloud terms and conditions is floating over the end stream. So that's going to kick me out. And now I got to go over here and hit cancel, which is really annoying. I hate signing my name to anything. We got software updates, like overdoing everything. So all y'all, thank you for tuning in. We will see you next time. Make sure you tune in. We're probably going to do some trivia this Sunday night. It's going to be a blast. Make sure you are back. Be here or